This is the Iron Man 2 3.75-inch figures movie series Mark 6 armor figures. On the right hand side is the regular Mark 6 figure, and on the left is the Mark 6 with power-up glow armor. And as you can see, Hasbro has gone smaller with their new Iron Man figures. In the first movie, the movie one toys, we had 6-inch figures, and for some reason Hasbro thought it would be most economical to just keep them at the 4-inch scale, or the 3.75-inch scale, which is really the Hasbro's bread and butter. Really being such experts and having successful lines as G.I. Joe and Star Wars and the Marvel Universe, why not just make everyone 3.75? Yay! Okay. Let me just step back a bit and show you the packaging. The packaging, it's new, quite interesting. Not the best packaging in the world, but I do like the way the angled bubble packaging. It's very much like the new Star Wars packaging, which I like. I'm not particularly fond of the logo of Iron Man 2. I think it looks cheap, but the pose of Iron Man is great. It's a lot better than the first movie. The power-up glow Mark 6 figure is, as you can see, number 8 in the series of 3.75-inch figures, and correspondingly, the irregular Mark 6 armor is the number 10 figure in the series. So very nice. Each of these new 3.75-inch figures include the armor cards, 3 armor cards each, which I will discuss later. And at the back of the packaging, you just see more of the assortment and bios of the figure and the figure itself. So that's that. Okay, let me first do away with this armor card business before we get into anything. The armor cards, you can stand them. Okay. You can stand them up on this. There is an allocation on the base, which is like it's like a poster standee. But there's some slots there where you can put the armor cards. Now, let me just show you very briefly what they are. Not exactly a big fan of them, but let me just put them there. They're supposed to be slotted about a millimeter or 2 millimeters apart from each other. See, they're not flat, and you're supposed to create sort of like a 3-dimensional sort of armor image. I don't really get that. It doesn't look as pretty to me. It looks nice. I mean, the way they painted it, it's well done, but the whole gimmick thing of it looks sort of cool, but I can completely buy it. And I think this could just be my opinion. I don't know, you can tell me on the comment section below what you think of these armor cards. I think you can swap them and make your own armor. You can probably use the arms of the Mark 6 and put them on the Mark 5, legs of the Mark 6 on something else, and the body, you can decorate this with arms and legs of other armors. I think, I'm not exactly sure, but it's probably gonna be fun for some people. So I don't get it. It's okay, it's not bad, but it's not for me. Okay, so let's get rid of the armor cards and focus on these figures. Let's start with the power-up glow Mark 6. As you can see, very nice paint detail. I think that this is the same factory of Hasbro that manufactured the old 6-inch movie one figures. Because, again, I will say this, just like any other Marvel Universe figure that Hasbro has come up with, there will be paint issues that you have to be wary about. So be very careful when selecting your Iron Man figures, particularly the Mark 6 power-up glow, because in the packaging, the head is exposed for the Mark 6 power-up glow, because you're allowed to test the feature, which is just depressing the head, and there's a switch right here on the neck which turns the light on. It's very cool. I like this feature. As you could check out my other reviews where I featured the gamma glow Hulk, whatever, which I like. I love these light up things. The only drawback to this figure is because of this gimmick, articulation is is well, sort of hindered, or it takes a reduction in articulation, particularly the shoulders. The shoulders are reduced to just mere ball joints and no longer the hinge ball joints. Quite interesting. But the head still retains the ball joint feature, and you can still depress it. Everything else about the figure, the arms can still articulate just like any other regular figure. Has wrist articulation, swivel ball jointed elbows, swivel ball jointed hips, double jointed knees, swivel ball joint ankles. No waist articulation or torso, and because of the feature. But other than that, it is a very, very cool armor. I like this guy. You don't even have to pose him. You can just keep him like that. There's a battery here, which is a flat, it's about 1/4 of an inch in diameter. You can take it out, you can replace it if the battery runs out. So very nice figure. I'm especially pleased with this one. I just had to the first one I got had paint blemishes on the right eye. I had to change it. I'm glad the store changed it for me. So there. The excuse me. The regular Mark 6 armor doesn't have any light up features, obviously. The paint job is a little bit brighter than its counterpart, and the posability of this one, as I said, in the shoulder is not compromised because there's no features. It has a swivel ball jointed shoulder and a ball jointed torso. I'm really glad they got this back. I was sort of afraid they would just keep the swivel waist, but sort of happy they kept the ball joint. It gives it a lot more posability. So again, the legs are articulated exactly the same as that one, so as the forearms, same as that one, and ball jointed head. My pet peeves with these, oh sorry, let's get to the feature. He has one clenched fist, and he comes with this sort of a missile launcher, which does fire quite a bit. Twice I almost lost the missile because it does shoot very far. Very, very strong spring. You don't have to keep it on. I think he'll look good even without the I think he'll look good even without the missile. One thing, a few negative comments. Again, I will say a few negative things about these figures is they have sort of not eliminated my pet peeve of the old movie 1 figures, which is really the very soft and jelly like double jointed knees. So if you did not have a stand, or even if you did have a stand, they have a tendency to just sort of warp and move on the knees because it's very soft, which is sort of annoying if you're a posability junkie like me. The other thing I'm going to mention is the shoulders are no longer on clip joints, or whatever you call those friction joints. They are glued on. So if you play with them too much, they'll probably have a tendency to just pop off, like this one on the Power Glow. I can already imagine some kid just popping it off as he plays too much with this figure. But you know, since it's glued on, nothing's gonna get broken. It's made of soft rubbery plastic. You can just glue it back on. Just wish they could have molded it instead of glued it on as a separate piece. But that's that. The Mark 6 is probably going to be one of my favorite armors in the entire line. I'm looking to get the 8-inch figures, 8-inch figure, but that's for another review. Generally, I'm very pleased. I wasn't sure I was going to like them, but they look good. I mean, if you like the 4-inch figure scale, I highly recommend you get the Iron Man figures. They're very highly detailed. Paint apps are just wonderful if you find a figure that has no blemishes. You know, like even this one has a little bit of smudging of spray painted red on the thigh, but that's forgivable because the paint quality they use is just awesome. If you have one of the things you want to get apart from the War Machine armor is probably the Mark 6, since I think it's probably one of the best among the 3 armors that were featured, that are probably going to be featured in the sequel. So there you go, the 3.75-inch movie series figures from the Iron Man 2 toy line, the Mark 6 armors. This one is a regular Mark 6 and the Power Up Glow Mark 6. I hope this video has been very helpful to some of you, or most of you, who are actually wondering about these figures. Thanks for watching.